Yeah, welcome everybody to our True Self Talk. Yeah, that is the live session reflection and also an opportunity for us to talk about our experiences right now, not just during the session, but also in our life. My name is Jona Bryndis. You all know me. I'm a spiritual guide, an energy coach, spiritual counselor, and coach. And here at transCODES and this Sacred Self-Healing community that is live on Skype over the last 15 years, I have been helping and assisting individuals, anybody who wants to come, to find their way, into their true self. All right, so this isn't a reading here that you are going to watch or listen to. This is a live reflection of something that we just experienced in the monthly Connect with Your True Self energy healing and training session. So I've been doing this for 12 years, every month. Thousands and thousands of people have gone through this and come back every month. And the first question that came up in this session that was facilitated by myself and Astrid Schäfer, who is a trained energy healer as well in Germany, was why do we have to do this over and over again? I always say to you that the journey or the relationship with your true self is the most important. It's the beginning and the end of your journey. It is sort of the core journey. And it is the one session that I do for free every month. So you can tell that there is an intention behind that that has to do with you recognizing that this relationship with yourself, with who you truly are, is really at the core of all your questions. All your questions. Who am I? Why am I here? What are these experiences that I have for? Where are they leading me? Why am I having these experiences? Yeah, what happens after life? Where am I going? Where should I go? What is the right path? All these questions. Raise your hand if you are constantly having those kind of questions. Show me your hearts or your yes. This is constantly going on in our heads. All right. And taking the time to tune into, the deeper feeling, yeah, where we basically activate something that is irregardless of the situation that we are currently in, irregardless of these energies or these impulses that are coming in through other people, how other people see us, how the world kind of wants to place us, or whatever these omnious collective energies are. Yeah, right now, right here, present moment awareness, the attention to your inner self. That is the ultimate goal of this journey. And by practicing this, by cultivating this, if you will, pathway to yourself, there is actually certain neural pathways that are being formed as you do this that allow you to do this much more easily as you go. Yeah, so the more often you can do this, the easier it gets to touch base with who you truly are. And we all are here right now to discuss what came forward for us as a group, as a group of, I think, 85 people from all around the world, creating sort of this grid, this network of true selves tuning in to who they truly are. And also our individual experiences. So as an energy coach, that's what I do. I guide people into this higher state or deeper state, if you will, where they can connect more easily with this core of themselves. Yeah, the true self, connect with your true self session is one that has no specific intention or agenda other than, creating a safe environment, a safe space for you guys to tune in. And the job of the co-facilitators here, myself and anybody else who co-facilitates, trained energy healers, is to keep this field, to keep this room on a high enough frequency level, remotely as we do this, for you to bypass, all your thinking and all your emoting and all your current state distractions. One of the main codes, as we call this, of the word energy code, is a bit of a lingo word. Yeah, those are things that we recognize as these patterns that occur when you work with people in the etheric and in the astral, was the physical integration, making our physical, not just our body, our physical body, but our embodiment, everything that comes with our 3D life, if you will, but also the physical, also the body, okay, part of this journey, harmonizing, building a bridge between the material and the spiritual aspects of who we are. And this is the core, really, of this question, who am I? And I want to turn to you guys right now, and I hope that you're okay with speaking directly into the microphone. You don't have to turn the video on. I want to ask you, what frequently comes up for you when you ask yourself, who am I? What comes up for you? Now, this question may not come to you as who am I? It may come to you as, oh, I'm so bad, I'm not good enough, I'm this, I'm that. Yeah, so understand that the way you hear the question also already expresses how you want to answer this question. So when you actually want to know what your true self, the core of you, the essence of you, not the outer expression, but the essence of you from inside out. And what that part of you feels about you, you have to refine the question. You cannot just go by these statements or judgments or projections that you perceive through your 3D everyday life, say at work or in your relationship or with your kids or with the people that surround you. You have to learn to discern that. So we have interactions with the world, with people all the time, and they project something to us. It's like through them we experience ourselves. And that's one aspect of our perception. But the part that we want to cultivate here, the part that we really want to learn how to do this, no matter what our situation is to go inward and ask ourselves this question from within. Ask yourself right now, what comes up for you when you ask yourself who you are? Who would like to share? And it's okay if you share all those critical inner voices that come up for you, or the projections that are just mentioned that come in from others. Sharing does not mean that you define yourself through that. It's just the reflection, the honest and true reflection of what comes up.
I think for me, I'm feeling a time of a bit of a disconnect. So having lost a parent and recognizing that maybe I've been holding on to some of who I was that isn't serving me, and the process of letting go to be able to move out of that sort of catch.
Okay, so let's just have a look at this for a moment, Linda, if you don't mind. Me personally, I just went through a major loss as well. Some of you may know that. Let's just go into that. So you ask yourself, who am I? And the grief and the loss, but also maybe the untruth of how you defined, in this case, your parent comes up. Go a little deeper here. How is the loss of your parent defining you?
I think for me, it's really making my other relationships shaky. And I don't even know why that would be, but it's like I've lost a grounding spot,
Okay.
and maybe I'm becoming like I sort of feel a little victimy, which,
Nice. Yeah.
well, no, it's not nice.
No, but I'm saying
I know.
nice because you can formulate this, because you can articulate this. This is truth you're speaking there. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. Yeah, we're not judging anything. We're just like really tuning into truth. That's how that goes. We have to be willing to see it all. We can't just, sort of create some la la reality for us. Yeah, if we really want to know who we are, we have to look at those shadow aspects as well. I love that you can articulate that. But sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. So it,
No,
it
I think,
puts it puts a different perspective on those daily interactions with others. It makes them
yeah,
shaky, you said.
yeah. I think I'm not as strong. And I think in the beginning, I was uh, maybe blaming. And so I'm in that process of taking back my power and getting responsible, but I'm clearly right in the throes of it. I am not strong today.
So like a vulnerability, like you feel vulnerable a bit. Is that
Very,
it?
very
Is it also that you expect more support, maybe?
well. It's seeing that there isn't that
Mm.
support and then needing to foster support for myself.
All right. Look at that. Nice.
Yeah, and where else am I supposed to be getting it from anyway? So
Yeah.
so that's that whole victimy, like, holy smokes,
Yeah.
I've let that go outside of me and I need to get it back in.
So this is the lesson of going through loss. As hard as it sounds, when we lose something, or when we perceive something as loss, yeah. So it doesn't always have to be the death of somebody, yeah. But when we lose something, it could be a job, it could be money, it could be a friend, it could be a relationship. It could also be just an idea that we lost, yeah, like a business idea that we had and it fails. Okay, that's a loss too. So when we lose something, yeah, it forces us to go into that question. Yeah? Did we actually lose ourselves here? Or did we just lose something that you said it perfectly? We thought we had, right? We thought we had. And it's hard. I mean, obviously when it's a person, say that passes or that is no longer in our life, we do feel the grief of not having that anymore. That's more or less a physical grief. That's something that our emotions and our bodies feel. Yeah, and I think we talked about this last month. There's a little bit of a process to that. We have to allow that to come out. Okay, but I really like the depth of your reflection here, Linda, it puts a different perspective on the people that we surround ourselves with. The victimhood, that's just sort of the part in you that doesn't quite want to realize it, that doesn't quite want to accept the truth. Yeah, that you have perhaps let go of your own self-care. That you are not really tending to yourself as much as you should, because those that you're tending to aren't really reciprocating it, or aren't really, well, sometimes when it's with work or family or business, they aren't really on the same path as we are. And that's something very difficult to swallow. So when we experience loss, then we're forced to go deeper and investigate who we are and how we are expressing ourselves. And do you know, Linda, how that comes about, like literally in you? How did this shakiness that you said, like where you start looking at, others, you start looking at your life, you start looking at, where you question things, how that comes about?
No, and for me, it was very, very messy. And so I'm just having to figure it out now to try and dig my way out of whatever mess I got myself into.
Messy is a beautiful word. We call this chaos in spiritual science. Okay, chaos. Okay. Chaos is sort of as the opposite of, order, of where you can see everything and where you know what to do, where to go. Yeah, where you have sort of a roadmap. Yeah, when things are messy, it means that we are standing in front of chaos and we don't know what to do. This is an extremely painful experience. So this deeper reflection that you are doing right now, Linda, and not just you, so many of us, came about through pain. Through the pain of having to, like there's sort of something definite, something ultimative about this, having to accept that maybe the way we see ourselves, the way we define ourselves, the way we express ourselves, the way we live our life isn't really true to us. So it is pain, or I often call it the confrontation with untruth, that serves us in this way. Even the recognition or the realization of some of our own little shadow things, like victimhood. Victimhood is a big theme right now. Yeah, it's a major part of our own inner darkness. So the victimhood, I know I'm not just talking about you, Linda, so I'm taking my time to use your sharing for others to enter the healing process rather than the beating yourself up process. Now, victimhood is sort of a rigid pathway that we have, that when things get messy, and you say, yeah, where we externalize, where we deflect it, where we basically say, I don't want to accept that, because I'm not responsible for it. It's his fault, her fault, the government's fault, the world's fault, whatever, whoever. It's a form of pushing it away and externalizing it. And in order for you to take back your power, I love how you said that, you cannot push that away and take back your power at the same time. So the guidance here that is coming forward from your true self, Linda, is to step into courage, to accept the chaos, the messiness, to accept it. You don't have to agree with it, but to accept it, to say, okay, there's a lot of chaos. I'm going to have to look at some things. I'm going to have to clean up. Yeah, the willingness to do that and the willingness to actually recognize, yeah, how you, the way you see yourself and the way you've expressed yourself or are expressing yourself isn't actually leading you toward a more truthful expression. And so if I look into your energy field and the notes that I've made here for you, hang on guys, it's very small writing. I need my glasses to read my own notes. Yeah, it's all about congruence. It's all about you stepping into truth and cultivating the speaking of truth. So this is also why I responded so positively when you were saying things that are, pointing at how messy or how tricky it is for you right now. That ability, that is the one that you need to carry into your 3D life, to actually say it out loud. And when I said something about accepting chaos, this can be expressed as simple as, guys, this is really messy and it's not working for me. All right, so something's got to change here. All right, and whether this requires you to make changes on the outside or it's still sort of more an internal process, that's just a matter of time. Okay, for you to say that you recognize that you have been neglecting self-care, that perhaps you have been surrounding yourself with people and focused, on their needs rather than your own, who aren't really supportive to you, who aren't really working with you, but perhaps even against you, that is a major, major insight. Yeah? Many of you suffer from that, guys. Learn from this. Don't wait till you have to go through this deep pain of loss. Yeah, because this is how your true self intervenes. It sends you these life experiences that are so intense that you finally wake up. Okay, but it also comes with a lot of pain. Yeah, but recognizing that the people around you aren't really the ones that you want to continue on your path with. And this is not always individuals. This can also be the type of people, the group of people, the do you guys know what I mean? Most of you here in this community have been on this journey for a long time. Yeah, and you have been diligently working on trying to understand your own journey, trying to understand yourself. And this is really what life and this life lesson, the purpose of life is about. But you get stuck in implementing it, in embodying it, in making the necessary changes on the outside, yeah, to help yourself. How does this come about? With agreeing to relationships that are not true to us, agreeing to jobs that are not true to us, agreeing to, things that in your heart aren't true to you. This is a feeling thing, guys. You cannot walk past this. You cannot lie to your true self. Okay, the true self, this essence of you. We often also call it the higher self. It is the part in you that is in truth. Okay, you cannot lie to that one. And so learning how to speak truth, learning how to live in truth, it brings you closer to who you are. And on this path, there are a lot of people that you will encounter. There are a lot of negative experiences that you will have with other people to show you what not to do, to show you what to change. your guys' values, yeah, the spiritual impulse that you feel within yourself, yeah, the goodness in your heart, that is true. The values that you've developed, wanting to be of service to others, wanting to be collaborative, wanting to connect deeper with others, those are spiritual values, guys, and those are good values. But the people you're trying to do this with aren't the right ones yet. And that's sometimes hard to accept. Why? Because maybe we've invested so much into this. Yeah. The relationship or the job or the social group or sometimes even the business idea. But this investment, okay, yeah, like all your hopes and all your dreams and all your, sort of ways of painting the picture and justifying and excusing things, those are all projections. Those come from your ego. They come not from your true self. The guidance that comes from your true self happens through a deep inner fulfillment. And sometimes it's difficult because many of us have been conditioned to live a life that is so untrue on so many different levels that we don't even know yet, that we haven't even experienced that. We don't even have a reference feeling for that. Raise your hand if you have a hard time connecting with these words when I say a deep inner fulfillment. Raise your hand if you have a hard time with that. There's no shame in that, okay? All that means is that you just haven't had a reference feeling for that in a conscious way. As an energy coach, I know that people do have reference feelings for that, but they don't accept them. Yeah, for example, I'll give you an example here out of my life. What I do today, yeah, on all these different levels, as a spiritual counselor, as an energy coach, as somebody who runs a school for elementary students, working with kids, working with people's problems, yeah, being a healer. Those are all things that I did not ever wanted to do in my life when I was younger. Ever. I wanted to be a scientist. I wanted to be somebody who codes. I didn't want to have anything to do with people's problems, and especially not kids. Okay? However, this deep feeling of connection with myself and with what I do, be it something creative or be it something that helps others, I already had that as a younger person, but I refused it. I refused it because I saw myself as somebody else. I saw myself as this rational, you know, knowing and, intellectual person. It doesn't want to deal with any of the messiness in life. And here I am. So I didn't even know that I had these feelings of fulfillment because I rejected them. So this is the quest. If you feel that your life is mainly untrue, that the way other people see you, that the way you see yourself, and that all the things that you do have really no meaning for you, then go back to basics. Go back to the drawing board. Go back to your childhood even. Yeah, let go of all the trauma and family stuff. Okay? Just tune into what we call moments of excellence. These moments of deep fulfillment as a kid where, you know, all the other stuff, the overlay, yeah, your critical inner voice and, you know, all these negative experiences and trauma weren't prevalent yet, weren't dominating yourself and the way you see the world. Let's do this together right now before we keep talking, because this is all relevant for our session. Take a deep breath. Ima, your microphone is going back and forth, in and out. Not sure how this happens. Yeah, thank you. Let's do this exercise because you can do this at any moment in your life. Take a deep breath. Hold it a little. Make sure that your belly expands when you breathe in. So let's do this again. Deep breath. Hold it. And then as you breathe out, guide your breath downwards. Let's do this first. Downwards into the earth. Try to feel your feet. Try to feel your feet touching the floor. And go into the floor, into the ground. Like roots of a tree. Do this again. Breathe in. Hold. And down. Now we're going to do the same again, but this time we're going up. And we connect with the sun. Take a deep breath in. Hold. And upward into the sun. One more time. In. Hold. Up. Now see yourself suspended right in the middle between those two pathways that you've created into the earth, to the heart of the planet and the cosmic heart and the sun. And now take a deep breath and go sideways as you breathe out. One more time. In. And those of you who are familiar with this breathing technique, it's called I am breathing. If you really, really want to open up all these pathways that are needed for you to speak truths and to stand and live in your truth, you can say I as you breathe in. It's very difficult. I. And you say am as you breathe out. Am. I am. This is nothing mystical. This is really just sort of centering yourself, grounding yourself, yeah, and tuning into your true self at the same time. And now ask yourself, what are those moments of excellence? What are moments in your childhood that you remember where you just 100% free, 100% enjoying yourself? Images that come up.
For me, it's, I remember when I ate apples at my grandparents. I liked that really much.
Beautiful. For me, it's walking through the woods and seeking mushrooms, if you believe it or not. That was such a joy for me. And I was all alone I was like 6 or so, just going through the woods and seeking mushrooms. I thought mushrooms were the coolest thing ever. Not to eat them, just to collect them.
Jumping off the swing.
Wow, nice. I like that. I remember that too. feeling this momentum from behind, right? That carried you.
For me, it's all to do with nature and animals and the farm and being with people, community, actually, neighbors and my parents. Yeah.
Any particular image or memory that comes up for you, Ina?
Being in a hayfield, the
Nice.
smell, and being in the bog, if you guys know what that is, with lots of wildlife. Yeah. Just always working towards something, but looking back, it was so precious. Just being at one with nature, with other people who loved me. Yeah, I love.
Any more reference feelings that you can muster?
For me, it is going to picnics with friends and neighbors.
Beautiful memory.
Jumping into a big snowbank.
So this is just an exercise in allowing ourselves to tune into something. It's the process of invoking something. That's why we have this invocation to our true self at the beginning of the session. You have to invoke something in us. It's literally healing frequency that you are bringing up when you tune into this image. It's a feeling. It's a feeling. All these memories that you shared with us here are feelings. It's obviously not about the particular scene or people that are in this memory. It's the feeling that you had. So let's try to work with this. What does this tell you? Dippy, your picnic scene with friends and family. It expresses so much about who you are. Yeah, it expresses.
I enjoy having people around, and also watching the waterfalls. I don't know, water makes me very happy, and I'm not sure why, but it does make me very happy.
Yeah, so those are two different images. They have something to do with your true self, okay? So the picnic, the social situation, sharing food. Yeah, and also providing maybe, there's a provision aspect to that.
Yes, even now I enjoy making food and providing.
Me too. Yeah, I can totally relate to that.
Yeah.
And the water is, just sort of this perpetual, stream. Yeah, waterfalls are a little different from like watching a creek. I grew up around waterfalls. I was really more pulled into like little creeks and rivers. I didn't like the waterfalls so much. They were so big and so violent. They were scary to me as a kid. But it's the water itself. Okay, so you like the pouring in, and water in spiritual sciences also stands for angels, for this sort of spiritual influx, that drips into our consciousness. Yeah, because waterfalls seem to come out of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
Like when we look at a waterfall, we just see like all this pouring in. Yeah, so some of the other memories here, jumping into a huge snowbank or jumping off a swing. Yeah, Linda, those are related. They're related. There's something that has to do with, this sort of energy the push from behind, the like, feeling courageous and, like feeling sort of the back wind, that something is supporting you and enjoying, the jump, enjoying the jump. Yeah. Not everybody here may have had that experience of jumping into a snowbank. I have, and I love it too. Because it's on one hand so massive and so big and kind of dark, but then when you're in it, it actually isn't as solid as it looks like from the outside. You know, and you can still breathe and find your way out of it. It's not as solid as water, for example. Yeah, it's water too, water crystals, but not as solid. So what does that tell me? You know, as a spiritual feeling that you are tuning in there, you're tuning into courage, you're tuning into embracing the unknown, but feeling supported. Yeah.
Yeah, the support is really big. And the one in the snowbank is because you are covered from head to toe in a
Yes.
snowsuit and you're wrapped in
I
scarves.
feel
and
it.
yeah.
Yeah. You can have that underwater too, but there is a little bit more fear that comes up for most people, namely the fear of not being able to breathe. In snow, you don't have that. There still is, because it's such a soft enveloping, you know, that you still feel you can do whatever you want to. Yeah. Annette, the eating the apple. If you feel into this, I mean, you know, you also brought in your grandmother, so there must have been something about that, maybe a nurturing aspect that your grandmother, you know, was nurturing you. In spiritual science, the apple stands for, you know, wisdom. Okay, but I don't think that it is necessarily that. I think that it is more related to freedom. You know,
Yeah, exactly. Freedom.
when you pick apples from a tree, it feels so abundant. Yeah, anybody ever been in a fruit orchard and you could just pick the cherries or the apples or whatever and put them right into your mouth? That's freedom. That's abundance. Yeah. So that's a beautiful reference feeling for you, Annette. How abundant, you know, the world is. You just got to tune into that. Yeah. This feeling of freedom that is often overshadowed or dominated by, you know, thoughts of or perceptions of lack and restriction. Okay. Obviously, you know, it's not that simple. You can't just bring up that memory and all of a sudden the world looks differently for you in that moment. But what you can do is, though, use this reference feeling for you and put that into your future. Say, this is how I want to feel. This feeling, this is my true self showing me what to aim for. So whenever, whatever it is that I'm doing from here on now in 3D in this life, I will pay attention to when I have a similar feeling, because that is showing me my path. That is how my true self has been guiding me all along. So all thoughts and pains and whatever that have to do with rigidity, you know, the not being able to do what I want to do, not, you know, with lack, yeah, feeling that, oh, there's no point in trying and so forth. You bring up that image, that feeling. It's not magic, guys. It's not mysterious. This is, to a degree, also how your neural pathways work. Okay, so there's a combination here of the spiritual and the material in you. It's your true self giving you this feeling, yeah, this elation, okay, and your body responding to it with neurotransmitters and, you know, endocrine secretions. That's the scientist. I mean, okay, that's what's going on in you in that moment. Yeah, so your nervous system, your glands, and your biochemistry, they respond to this feeling. So as you are practicing this feeling of abundance, the feeling of freedom, you are shifting your energetic state. And with it, this is often the hard part for many of us, even educated people educated in spiritual sciences. And with it also your perception, you begin to see more opportunities. You begin to see yourself and the world in a different way. Yeah, so the big theme here in this session today was about identity. Who am I? And the way to find out, the path, yeah, the compass that is already in us. Yeah, so see your true self as this inner compass of truth, and utilize these inner feelings. Yeah, that it's not just one, but if you tune into these moments of excellence that we practiced earlier, you will find that most different situations that come to your memory are related somehow. They all express the same thing. Emer, like you, I wanted to be with animals. I wanted to talk with animals. And so I felt most elated when I was around animals. Yeah? And it was always about, like, listening to their needs. What do you need? Oh, you need water. Oh, you need food. Oh, you need a little healing salve on your leg or whatever. It was about that. Okay. Yeah. So my true self has guided me to, wanting to somehow be involved with healing and finding natural ways, natural even via, my spiritual organs, to find out what the other needs. Now, we all have these organs, guys. Your true self is pointing you toward it, but we do need to nurture them. We need to basically feed this pathway. Yeah. And the more you do this, that's why I keep encouraging you to come to these free sessions, but also, the ongoing sessions that we have at transCODES with the Energy Training Club or the Grace Training Club, where we, tune into these deeper aspects in our lives, like 2-3 times a week. Okay. Where we're not just building this bridge more actively, but where we get answers. Yeah, we're feeding this connection, and as we are feeding this connection, yeah, this feeling and, our sort of 3D being, yeah, and allow them to work together, the world becomes less chaotic. That is what awakening is, guys. Awakening means the light goes on. And the light is your consciousness. And the way that happens is through truth. The spirit of truth. The spirit of truth in you, which you could call the true self, just as a working title. It's much higher, obviously, at the spirit of truth, but in you, yeah, the you version of the spirit of truth is your true self. The more you interact with it and the more you nurture that connection, the more light goes on. And what happens when we do that, and this is a big theme here for the last years in the sacred self-healing community, you're building this bridge between the physical material, but also, discussing the issues that we have to encounter when we awaken, when the light goes on, is that we have to look at the darkness. We have to look at the shadow that this light casts. That's why I praised you, Linda, for being willing, being courageous, being able to articulate, the truth of your own shadow. Yeah, when a person can articulate that, that means that the light is on. When a person blames others or the world or darkness or whatever, the light's not on yet, guys. Victimhood and blaming means the light's off. The light's off. Okay? That doesn't mean that you are responsible for every bad thing that happens in your life. That's not where this goes. See, this whole question of who's responsible is a question that only arises out of the ego. The true self does not ask whose fault it is, whose mistake it was, who's to blame. It's not about that. It's about what can we learn from this? How is this helping us? How is a confrontation with untruths, which you could call shadow and untruths, you could call dark forces, entities, darkness as a concept. You could call all that, shadow, if you will. How does a confrontation with that, with darkness, with untruth, help us? It allows us to recognize what is not true. And this is how this goes. This is how this true self-training course goes. On one hand, you get these moments of excellence, these moments of elation, mostly unconscious, but throughout your life. And on the other hand, you get all these negative experiences that show you the opposite. That show you when you feel degraded, when you feel annihilated, when you feel shamed, when you feel disappointed, when you feel lost, when you feel pain, when you feel all that, even if it's just through your critical inner voice. And not, that all your thoughts are wrong. Yeah, your critical inner voice has a purpose, your ego has a purpose. But if your lights are not on, guys, you cannot discern what is true and what isn't. So the essence of all this here is really to recognize with light there is also the recognition of shadow, and a lot of times it comes through what I call the confrontation with untruth, unfreedom and unlove. They also belong to that category of shadow. It is the going through the dark night of the soul, the going through the shadow. Yeah, that shows you the way. That shows you where the light is. And once you have a good sort of pathway between, what you perceive as yourself and the essence of you, the true self from within you, then you begin to see it all more clearly. And that's then when, it gets really interesting in our awakening process, because first of all, we begin to realize that it is those dark nights of the soul, the loss, the pain, the utter fear, that actually helps us to turn the lights on. So, from an esoteric standpoint, this life is all about discernment of truth, discernment of light from darkness, and making a conscious choice, consciously choosing your path. And for that, you have to know who you are first. And in order to know who you are, you have to know what you are not. And this is the answer to most of your guys' struggle. You have to be willing to acknowledge what you are not, to find out who you truly are. So just real quick before I let you go, the majority of you had quite a bit of physical resistance here. in this session coming forward. So there's a lot of rigidity. There's a sort of resistance to a truth that is playing out in your body. I don't know if you feel this, but many of your energy fields felt like you feel run over by a truck. Linda, you said messy earlier. You know, a lot of times that goes hand in hand. Okay, when you actually feel this in your body, yeah, that everything is messy, it feels overwhelming, and it can also feel quite painful in your joints, in your, you know, you just feel sort of clamped in. Okay, so this is what you need to address. The technique for addressing that and becoming a little more aware that that is not all just you, but that this is also right now part of the task that we all have to go through, is the grounding, the centering, and the deep breathing. Okay, you can help your nervous system, you can help your neurotransmitters, you can help your endocrine system, and especially your lymphatic system. Okay, because your lymphatic system is responsible for, you know, clearing out the toxins, clearing out, you know, the stuff that is no longer wanted. So to allow yourself to have a good flow there and not get stuck in the mess. Yeah, in the practical, it can mean, you know, go do the spring clearing or the deep cleaning, or, you know, the renovation or the redecorating. Okay, embrace, you know, that clearing process and allow yourself to be open for new impulses, even if it means that you have to throw away a lot of stuff, that you have to get rid of stuff, that you have to let go of the stuff that is no longer supporting you. Okay? And the second aspect is to shift your attitude toward struggle, toward pain, toward fear. Your attitude, recognize it as a teaching tool. Recognize it as sort of a wake-up call. Yeah, pain is real, trauma is real, fear is real, shame is real, guilt is real, anger is real. Those are all real emotions that you can feel, and that's okay. But to go into them and deflect them and not wanting to, you know, look into like, okay, what is actually coming forward through them, that means that you are basically encapsulating them, that you are sort of pushing them away, which also then means that you're not able to learn from them. So this is what we do with all this energy awareness training, to be able to go a little deeper into what your pain is actually telling you, to not to project into your pain, but to allow yourself to learn that you can breathe through your pain. You don't have to absorb it all. You can be in pain, yeah, and be very, very conscious. Anybody who has been forced to deal with excruciating pain, be it physical pain or emotional pain, you know, trauma, knows that there is a way out. There is a way out. You just have to allow yourself to actually sit in your pain and feel into it. And the third thing is to actually allow this moment of excellence to come back, to consciously pull it back in and say, yes, okay, I am in a lot of pain right now. I am experiencing chaos, confusion, overwhelm, loss, fear. Yes, I am in pain. But that is not who I am. And then you recall, yeah, you recall this feeling. And regardless of anything that was going on around you, in politics, in the world, at work, in your family, with other people, regardless of any of that, what connected you and elated you in your own being. That is the teaching of your true self. And in this session, there was a big hint at your physical. Yeah, when your physical showing you rigidity, showing you restriction, showing you this resistance, all right, then you need to work with your physical. Start with the basics, breathing, centering, and grounding. I can't even remind you guys often enough, especially right now. Go out in nature, utilize nature, utilize the deeper connection with animals, utilize the deeper connection with other humans. Thank you guys so much for coming and for joining this True Self Talk, even if you weren't in the session. Remember, we do this once a month. Okay, so if you sign up for the list, please keep coming back, and I will put in a forum link for you where you can share some of your personal experiences during the session or also following the session. Yeah, following this True Self Talk. I love you guys. Stay conscious. Bye-bye.